Al Gore is back and he's running his mouth again. When Al goes off like a lunatic is when he's the most fun. The former VP just dropped a comparison that's pretty outrageous even by today's Democrat standards. It would even make Facebook fact checkers blush. So what did he do? Oh, he just likened Donald Trump to Hitler. Again, he must have run out of things to say because he used the age-old Democrat cliche of likening anyone you disagree with to Hitler. The cliche is as old as Hitler, by the way. In fact, they've used it so much that it's lost all of its meaning. Only Democrats could render Hitler's name meaningless. Well, we got the clips to show you, and we're going to break down Gore's speech at a bougie Climate Week gathering in San Francisco, how Democrats keep weaponizing Nazi comparisons, and why it's all unraveling, and how Gore's remarks reveal far more about the left's desperation than about Trump and his administration. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, Al Gore is back. Not with a climate chart or a PowerPoint. No, this time he brought out the H-bomb. Yeah, Hitler again. During a cozy little gathering in San Francisco to kick off Climate Week, you know, where the elites sip kombucha and lecture the rest of us about carbon footprints from their private jets, Gore decided to give his 2 cents, and honestly, I would have demanded change. According to Gore, the Trump administration is a full-blown constitutional horror show, the political equivalent of a villain twirling his mustache while rewriting reality. Give it a watch.
The scale and scope of the ongoing attacks on liberty are literally unprecedented. With that in mind, I want to note that before I use what is not a precedent, I understand very well why it is wrong to compare Adolf Hitler's Third Reich to any other movement. It was uniquely evil, full stop. I get it. But there are important lessons from the history of that emergent evil, and here is one that I regard as essential.
Translation, I'm not saying Trump is Hitler, but let's talk about Hitler anyway.
In the immediate aftermath of World War II, a small group of philosophers who had escaped Hitler's murderous regime returned to Germany and performed a kind of moral autopsy on the Third Reich. The most famous of the so-called Frankfurt School of philosophers was a man named Jürgen Habermas.
The Frankfurt School.
Best known, I would say. But it was Habermas's mentor, Theodor Adorno, who wrote that the first step in that nation's descent into hell was, and I quote, the conversion of all questions of truth into questions of power.
That's exactly the Democrat model.
He described how the Nazis, and I quote again, attacked the very heart of the distinction between true and false.
Man, here's where you should start to worry. When Democrats go full Hitler, it's not a debate, it's a warning shot. He mentioned the Frankfurt School as if it was a good thing. The Frankfurt School was a bunch of German egg-headed ideologues on the left side of the aisle who were anti-capitalism, anti-technology, and they pushed to create a leftist culture to shape society. They were Marxists doing critical thinking. That's what they were. And let's be honest. Aren't you just exhausted by this game of calling everyone you disagree with Hitler? Grandma didn't give me dessert. Hitler! My boss gave me 5 minutes to get to work. He's Adolf Hitler! Starbucks was out of oat milk. It's just like 1939 all over again. Netflix raised their prices. This is how the Third Reich started. Yet, these are adults saying these things with straight faces. It's got to make you worry. Gore then warned that populist authoritarian leaders, wink, wink, they use migrants as scapegoats to grab power. Gee, I wonder what he could possibly mean. Which, of course, ties directly to Trump's big campaign promise, crack down on illegal immigration. You see, the only way that Democrats can make this argument is because they support illegal migrants more than their own American constituents. We're seeing that very thing right now with this Kilmar Abrego Garcia and as many Democrats as they can get to fly down to El Salvador, where in the off hours they are staying at 5-star hotels, sunbathing with margaritas in their hands. I mean, say what you want about Trump, but He's doing the reason why millions and millions of Americans supported him with their votes. And what was all that Gore was saying about seeking power is what this is all about? Are you kidding me? Trump already defeated Kamala, so he has all the power that he earned when he got elected. Gore also said, our Constitution, written by our founders, is intended to protect us from a threat identical to Donald Trump. But did you ever notice that when Democrats speak this way, they never really mention what those threats are? And when they do, they literally make it up. Enter James Carville, the Raging Cajun, the Democratic Party's favorite Cajun firebrand. He came in hotter than a crawfish boil. Here's what he had to say. He said, how disgraced much these law firms feel now. How disgraced. Where's my gumbo? How disgraced much these companies that are sucking up to him, that are giving him tens of millions of dollars for access. Do you know what's going to happen? Do you know how this ends? Do you know these collaborators, what the country is going to feel towards collaborators with this regime? Collaborators to what, James? Trump is making deals with corporations that had to flee the country because of Democratic policies aimed at putting them into bankruptcy. He's telling these companies, if you come back to America, you can manufacture here and give American workers jobs, and you're going to get lower taxes, and you're going to sell. That's something the Democrats never really did. How is that being a collaborator? They just make these things up on the fly. Carville continued saying, maybe you need to go into history and see what happened on August of 1944 after Paris was liberated. They didn't take very kindly to the collaborators. No, it was not a very pretty sight in the streets of Paris. Where's my gumbo? Actually, I can think of a much more recent event where the American people felt truly liberated. That was on November 5th, and then again on January 20, where the American people no longer had to live under the incompetence and the mean-spiritedness of the Biden administration that set out to punish any American who supported Trump. He called us MAGA extremists. So now, according to Al Gore, we're apparently one press conference away from public head-shaving rituals in the streets of D.C. This isn't satire, guys. This is their actual message. But here's what they don't want you to remember. Through history, it wasn't Republicans who pressured social media companies to censor opinions they didn't like. That was Al Gore's fascist party. It wasn't Democrats who forced Americans to take the COVID jab or lose their job. It's the same Democrats who decided your tax dollars should pay for someone else's student loans so that the Democrats could buy votes. Oh, and they're also the party that threw innocent Japanese American citizens into internment camps during World War II. And fun fact, the Nazis actually said that the Democrats' slavery model went too far when they tried to consider it. Let that sink in. If you thought political rhetoric couldn't get any more unhinged, congrats. We've officially hit parity. Comparing immigration policy or corporate lobbying to Nazi occupation, guys, it isn't just absurd. It's a masterclass in going crazy. I think medicating these people should be necessary. Every time they say stupid things like this, it comes across as a dog whistle for their Looney Tunes supporters in the streets to go attack anyone wearing a red MAGA hat. But at least now we know, if you support Trump, you're a populist authoritarian enabler. And if you do business with him, it's time to dust off your World War II flashcards. Because according to the Libnuts, you're starring in the Paris Liberation cosplay of 1944. But guys, here's the bright side. The louder they scream Hitler, the more we know we're winning. They don't use these comparisons because they're true. They use them because they've got nothing left. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with real conservative commentary that cuts through the noise. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
Too many secrets, too many closed doors, we're sick to cover-ups. We're sick of the cover-ups, want the truth and nothing more. The veil's been lifted, the jig is up, no more drinking the Kool-Aid from that poison cup. We want transparency, we want it now. excuses, it's